Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Fernandez, in case you haven't met me before. So, just for a brief introduction, if you haven't, I'm an old student of Tara Institute. So, I'll go through just briefly my three teachers. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Khyab Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who's one of the founders of the group of centres that Tara Institute belongs to, and also the resident teacher here, Venerable Geshe Doga. So those are my three main teachers. So whatever I pass on to you, I've sort of learnt from them, and I'll try and pass on what I know as well as I can. So I'll start this week again by reading out the refuge and generating bodhicitta prayer that we say before each teaching or activity. So I'll just say it 3 times, and you can just think about it as I say it. So, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest assembly. From the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest assembly. From the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest assembly. From the virtuous merit that I collect by practicing giving and other perfections, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. So, as I've mentioned before, by saying that prayer at the beginning of usually a teaching, potentially by Geshe Doga or one of the lamas, you're setting a very strong intentional motivation that whatever comes through that teaching, whatever you gain, whatever benefit, that it's going to be directed to that state of in Buddhahood or enlightenment. So that's the potential of every human being, every sentient being is that. So for that moment, for the 1 hour we're here, whatever, we're trying to direct that, any virtue or merit we accumulate to that end. So even I've just spoken about seeing all people as your friends, and some of you have actually tried that yourselves. So that can be encapsulated in that very thought to achieve enlightenment. Because as soon as you start to transform your mind from me, and it's a hostile world, as soon as you change it to whoever I encounter, whether they're happy, sad, angry, or whatever, they're my friend. As soon as you start transforming that, you're actually tapping into that mind of enlightenment. Okay? So has everyone got any questions on that? Because it's not an easy concept, I don't think, because effectively the world teaches us to be very me-centric all the time. Whereas this, if you're viewing everyone as your friend, you're actually, if you like, transforming the whole world so that whoever you encounter, your attitude towards them isn't, it's not neutral, and it's not, averse. It's actually more positive. So, and you have an equanimity about that. So it doesn't matter whether it's your best friend you encounter or a stranger or someone you don't like. You have the same positive approach to them. So that's quite, if you like, quite a unusual concept. So it's but it's wrapped up in this mind of enlightenment, the potential of the human being to achieve that state. So I thought, are there any people who haven't been here before? One, okay. That's good. 2, 3, 4, okay. A few, all right. Okay, well, it's worthwhile recapping what we've covered before, and I'll throw in a little bit more detail on some of the things, so I don't lose, so people don't get bored. So the first thing, just regarding the motivation we've set, when you set that motivation, it gives you that impetus or energy. It's going in that direction, a positive direction. And so whatever you do, whether it's eating or meeting someone or talking or sleeping, whatever, it's directed to that. So it means that motivation is very powerful. So, okay, so I'll just cover some of the topics we've covered in previous weeks. So we all have a valid wish for happiness and we don't want suffering. So that's His Holiness the Dalai Lama uses that truism. All beings want happiness and don't want suffering. So from the little ant to us, it's the same. We have that stream of mind that, you know, tries to avoid being trampled on, or in our case, experiencing unhappiness. And we all want some sort of happiness or satisfaction in our lives. And so does the ant. Whatever it is for the ant, whether it's we've built a nest or, you know, we've fed the colony. Is that, yeah? Same thing. So in Buddhism, though, although the external resources play a part in happiness, the main source of happiness is the mind itself. So that's quite different, because we have particularly in our society, it's very consumeristic. You know, consume more, grow more. You know, the more you accumulate, the better it is. And in Buddhism, we're saying, well, the external object has a part, but in reality, it's the satisfaction that the mind has that determines whether the mind is happy or not. So, in Buddhism also we have the 3 wisdom tools. So listening. Anyone like to finish what the other 2 are? First one's listening. What's the second one? Contemplating, yes. And the third one? Meditating, yes. So those 3 in that order. So for the student, whether it's me or you have to listen first with a good motivation, which we've set, so that's good. And then the second piece is to mull things over. And that's for you. So it's not the person conveying whatever it is, the teaching or it's for you. So that's your work, not anyone else's. And then the third piece, the third wisdom tool, meditation, it comes after you've mulled things over, because they have to make some sort of sense. And that's what the Buddha said: if it doesn't make sense, just set it aside, because it's, you know, that's rubbish. You know, it's no good. Just put it away. But if you feel that could work, or that sounds reasonable, then you can keep going and see if the meditation on that topic actually helps you. So, in terms of meditation, the meditation practice that we do here is there's 2 types of meditation. There's the first one, sort of the focus meditation, or trying to develop some sort of concentration or focus. So the breathing meditation is a good example of that. So you're trying to focus your attention on the sensation of the breath as it goes in and out through your nostrils. And for 1 minute, 30 seconds, whatever it is, for that you determine that you're going to keep your mind on that object for that point, that time. And then for beginners, they say finish, quit while you're ahead. So when it's still feeling really good, stop, and then move on to whatever else you want to do, because it's better to have a good meditation session that's short and sharp, and you feel, I could really focus for that 30 seconds or that minute, and then finish, because that'll give you energy next time you want to do meditation. You'll have a memory or an imprint of, that was actually quite good. I'm keen to go back and do it again. And that avoids the habit of, I've been sitting for 20 minutes, half an hour, and it's just not working. So after a while, the mind becomes a bit demoralised, and eventually you'll probably decide, meditation's too hard, I'll leave it for someone else to do, and you'll give up. So to avoid that they say for beginners it's better to focus on short, sharp sessions to develop that focused mind, that concentrated mind. The second form of meditation is analytical meditation. So in the technique we've been doing, you do the breathing meditation first to calm the mind down, make it peaceful, a little bit pacified, so not so worried about what's happened today, what's going on tomorrow, what's going on outside the meditation room, just on the breath. And then we swing into an analytical meditation. And the one we've done in the past few weeks is on focusing on the mind of jealousy. Would anyone like to have a go at a definition of what jealousy is? Or an example? I'm sorry, what was that?
Because they're not happy themselves.
Oh yes, but what's an example of jealousy? Or a situation where jealousy can arise?
Someone's got something that a person wants.
Yes, that's a great definition. Someone has got something that someone else wants. Or if it was me, someone has something that they don't deserve that I should have. So that's the kicker. It should be me that's getting that, whatever the thing you're jealous of is. So it swings back to the self going, oh well, no, that's wrong that person is getting that recognition or reward or love or attention or praise, whatever it is. There's a discomfort in the mind at that point that's happening. So we call that an example of an afflicted emotion. So in Buddhism, we say that the mind's nature is completely clear and clean. So like the analogy we use is the sky. So I'm sorry if I'm boring if any of you, but it's a good analogy because you go, okay, I can think of that. The mind is like the sky. Yes, beautiful, clean, clear, unobstructed. And these afflicted emotions like jealousy are like clouds. And we have lots of them. But jealousy is probably one of the big ones, isn't it? Because it can occur in any context, romantic, occupational, relationships, anything. The mind of jealousy can arise because there's always that comparison happening or could be happening. So in Buddhism, afflicted minds like jealousy are termed adventitious. Okay, who knows English well and can tell me what adventitious means? Yes, arising under certain circumstances. Yes, and sense of leading to adventitious. No, not. No, adventitious is. If we say that the Buddha nature is like the sky and the clouds are the afflictions, adventitious means that it's not one with the sky. It can be removed. It's not. It never pollutes the sky. It sits above it and causes problems, but it's not at one. And if it's adventitious, it can be temporary, impermanent, removable. Okay, so it's that, looking at that concept. So that's a big concept to think about, because you think, oh no, I have such a poor opinion of myself. Well, sure, I can say Buddha nature is good because Mark said, Buddha nature, but I can't get rid of these afflictions. Impossible. So in Buddhism, we're saying, no, there's this thing happening here. We've got the clear nature of the mind, which we can't see because we've got so much affliction, but from Buddhist perspective, that can be lifted. Does that happen immediately? The jealousy goes from 100% to 0, gone? No, but it can be temporarily suppressed, analysed, worked through, removed for a time, and eventually can be removed permanently. And the other truism with Buddhism is, from the Buddhist perspective, is if you can remove one afflicted mind, you can remove them all. So anger, attachment, hatred, pride, you know them all. So because we've all probably experienced them, but they can all be removed because they're all adventitious. So if they're adventitious, but the clean, clear sky, the Buddha nature, remains clean, clear, unpolluted, just waiting to be seen by us or realised. So the antidote that we can apply the breathing meditation. So that's good, isn't it? When you've got time to meditate, you can do the breathing. Say for jealousy, you can do the breathing meditation to just, what does it do? Does it make you feel more agitated when you do it? No? Someone shaking their head? No, it should make you feel a little bit less agitated because your mind's its attention isn't on the object of jealousy at that point, it's on your breathing. So you've temporarily focused inwards on the breathing, and if it's a very natural breath, so you're not going or it's not forced, so it's just a natural in-out, and that naturally, when your mind's turned inwards like that and you're focusing very naturally on the breathing and you're concentrated, what will happen to the mind of jealousy that consumed you at that point? It dissipates, that's right. It won't dial up in intensity, it'll dissipate. So at that moment, the mind that was so consumed by jealousy, when you've done that meditation, it dissipates. And that gives you some level of peace for that moment, and hopefully for the moments afterwards, that that there's some relief from the mind of jealousy. So that's fine when you're meditating, but to actually have some tool that you can use in daily life, we actually swing to an analytical meditation on jealousy, and we use the mind of rejoicing as the antidote for jealousy. So rejoicing is at first contrite. So you're going, oh, okay, that person's been put on the pedestal, recognised, lauded, rewarded, whatever. Instead of feeling, oh, it should be me and it's terrible and it's unfair, in meditation you're swinging it round to rejoicing for the virtue or the positive circumstances that have arisen for that person. You're rejoicing in that. How great it is that they've been promoted, just using an example, promoted to the top of the organisation. Okay, so that's rejoicing. You've swung it round. So does that work? I can see a few people nodding their heads. There's not too many naysayers around here. So with anything, at first, a change or a transformation in your thoughts is difficult. In fact, extremely difficult, particularly if it's an emotional thing like the mind of jealousy. But with effort, it becomes easier. So while you're meditating, you can do that. Focus on, I'm rejoicing in that person's efforts. And then out of meditation, when you encounter in real life that person or that situation, instead of the first response to a situation like that is the mind of jealousy, which makes you uncomfortable, makes you feel terrible, makes you feel really lousy. Instead of that being the first response may be the mind of rejoicing. And if not, if it doesn't work like that, oh gee, I've done it in meditation, but in real life it doesn't work. You don't sort of give up. You just go, oh well, okay. I can see the mind of jealousy arising. That's a first, because maybe before you were never able to separate from the mind. That mind, you were never able to observe it. You were just immersed in it. So you've got that little glimpse of that mind of jealousy is arising. I'm going to rejoice. It's hard, and then after a while, if you can keep doing it, do it in meditation, but do it in real life too, it becomes easier. Like with anything with the mind, a bit of practice becomes easier. So, has anyone used that meditation on jealousy? Ingrid, have you done that?
Yeah, I think it's a nice one. I find that sometimes someone has an opportunity to do something that you'd really like to do. So I find for me, it's not like, oh, that person shouldn't have that. It's more of a wistful, oh, I wish I could do that.
Yes.
And then I find that rejoicing that they have that opportunity, that I've tried to do. But I haven't had in recent times a situation where I've felt like that person should have that.
Yes.
It's sort of more almost like
Disappointment.
a disappointment.
Yes, yeah.
I find that the rejoicing helps to overcome disappointment.
Yeah. So Ingrid's raised a good point. The mind of jealousy may not arise, but a disappointment at the lack of opportunity, because the other person's got the opportunity for whatever reason. So it's sort of more subtle, but the opportunity to rejoice is still there. And one of the famous teachers, Lama Tsongkhapa, who's the middle statue there, he said that the easiest way to gain merit, and so to
I found something on the web about said easiest way to gain marriage.
merit. I said marriage. Oh, no, I didn't. It's merit. I've turned it on silent. What? Siri, huh? Easiest way to gain. Where was I? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, Lama Tsongkhapa, the famous Lama Tsongkhapa, he said the easiest way to gain merit, and to gain this state of enlightenment we're talking about, Buddhahood, clear, full of compassion, full of wisdom, the easiest way to gain merit is to rejoice. Why would that be? Happiness or virtue, or if they've done something good, like Ingrid's situation, someone's got the opportunity to do something fabulous, or and you're rejoicing, then there's a share of that virtue that comes to you, even if the other person's doing the action. So that's good, isn't it? Because it means you don't actually have to move. I mean, it shouldn't say that, because really, compassion in action is what we talk about. Try and do good things, help people, all that. But if, whatever circumstance, if you're rejoicing at other people's good deeds, there's a lot of virtue, merit, positive potential, positive mind coming your way, imprints being placed on your continuum as a result of that. And that will help you on the road to enlightenment, because you need a lot of merit, this store of merit or positive karma, to achieve enlightenment. So that's the easiest way, according to Lama Tsongkhapa, is to rejoice. So Ingrid's point's good. It might not be concerned with the mind of jealousy at that point, but you can still rejoice. So can anyone give me an example when they could rejoice? Yes?
Well, when I separated,
Yes.
my friends used to tell how you should hate me, it's terrible, this, that. And I was, in a way, rejoicing with me to find happiness, and it was a good thing for the sake of my kids. And I never hated him or terrible death. So in a way, that was my way, and everything became more positive.
Yes.
Instead of thinking,
Yes.
or jealousy
Yes. With somebody else, of course. Yeah.
So I really
Yes. So that's an excellent example. And Geshe Doga actually referred to that very situation a few weeks ago. Another person he was talking about, separated, could have seen their ex-partner as the devil, you know, and evil incarnated and all the rest of it, but then said, no, that won't achieve anything. He's a good person. I will, you know, get on with my life, and he's good. He's been a good father, whatever, and wished him well, rejoiced. You know, just sort of had that. And Geshe Doga actually pointed out and said, that shows the strength of mind of that woman. Happy in her circumstances now, not downtrodden by the separation, which can easily happen, huh? You get, you know, split up, and then it's like demoralised and beaten. So the opposite for this lady. So your example's very good. No, I understand. Look, it's no. No, yeah. We're not saying everyone here is like a robot. So you stick the thing in it, and the answer comes in it. But it's still, you've come out the other end very well with a very good attitude and approach, which is really good. Yeah, because it's not an easy situation, is it? Because generally there's a lot of angst, upset, worry, you know, concern, even about the future, what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to the family, everything, all that. So to actually have a positive approach in that situation, or to come out of it with a positive approach. What's that? Yes.
But is that society also how it sees those situations as, you know, calling people is an able, is, you know, sorry. But it's just a general reaction even from my kids, not allowing that to tamper.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very good response. So we should all aspire to an attitude like that. So, with we might do some meditation. So, if in case it's a bit boring, I'm going to do the breathing meditation and then the jealousy meditation, and applying the antidote of rejoicing all in one go. So I hope because you should get something different every time you do it. You know, there should be some sort of insight that comes out, particularly when we get to the end on the jealousy, because the person you put up as the object of jealousy last time it might be completely different this time. Whatever comes into your mind, into your orbit of thought at that time. So we'll do the breathing meditation. So back straight. So you can be sitting on a chair, on a cushion, doesn't matter. Back straight. Left hand at the bottom, right hand on top, palms like that, and then the thumbs touching and pointed back towards the navel, and your hands are sort of in your lap and pointed back like that, and your eyes are sort of not completely shut and not open. They're just allowing the impression of light in, and this is just to keep your mind alert but relaxed. Your mouth's closed and your tongue's at the top of your palate. So you're going to be breathing through your nose, in and out. So we'll just do a few breaths. So the object of meditation will be the sensation of the breath going in and out through the nostrils, but just to get it as primed for that, we'll visualise that as we're breathing in through our nostrils, that we're breathing in this beautiful enlightened energy. And that can be in the form of light or nectar, whatever. And then as we're breathing out, all our worries and concerns and afflicted minds, agitation are being breathed out. So we'll just do that for a few breaths. Then switch your attention just to the sensation of the breath as it's going in and out through your nostrils. And we'll do that for a minute. And if your mind wanders, just bring it gently back to the attention on the breath. So while the mind's still in that subdued state, so we'll visualize in front of ourselves the object of jealousy. So it's generally a person, we know. So we can see them in the state that draws that jealousy up. So whether it's them being praised or recognised or loved, whatever it is, we can see them in that situation, and where they're in front of us. So maybe they can't see us, but we can see them. So that's the beauty of the meditation. It's coming from our own side, so we're in control of it. So feel that emotion of jealousy as it arises in us. So does it make does it make us feel happy or uncomfortable? So examine that. And you can see that in virtually all circumstance with jealousy, the mind, our own mind at that time, is very uncomfortable, agitated. It has no calmness or clarity. Now we'll examine why that person has received the recognition or love or promotion, whatever. And the first, the most compelling reason is that it's a ripening of the law of cause and effect. So something that they've done previously has ripened into this positive result for them. We might not be able to see the cause that they created in the past, but we can certainly see that this situation that's causing jealousy for us is a result of some positive action that they have done. And then we'll swing it round and we'll introduce the mind of rejoicing. So at that moment when that person's being lauded, praised, recognised, loved, whatever, that instead of us feeling it should be me or that's unfair and how did that happen, in meditation we now rejoice in the positive situation for that person. So we'll finish there. So just when you're comfortable, just bring your attention back to the room and open your eyes. So that's the technique. Does it feel very complicated or difficult? Would you think it would be hard to implement? Everyone's saying no. Yes, Julie?
I'm struggling to find people I'm jealous of.
Oh, okay.
And I've got no trouble in thinking of people that I resent.
Okay.
Because they're harm me or
I see.
general harm to the community.
Yes. Yes, difficult to bring it up. Okay. Yep.
Can I ask them, because I say two things coming up, I find myself particularly jealous, but I have been very hurt by a group of people and I spent some time, so before I did any meditation, I had to keep them out of my mind and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't think about them at all. And I did spend a lot of time trying to meditate on it. Really difficult to start with. I didn't know about the rejoicing concept, but it was more about trying to forgive them and accept that we all come into this world with the tools that we have and the pride of our past and everything.
Mm-hmm.
These sort of successive goes of meditation, I can now actually talk about them and think about them and I can just feel myself. So that is sort of a similar
Yeah.
thing. And so it makes me wonder, so if you talk about different afflictions, we've got a list of afflictions and a list of what we should be doing with different afflictions. So I think if the affliction is greed and we're aware of the damage that someone's doing by greed, I can't imagine we're going to be rejoicing for them. We might be meditating on a bit of understanding or tolerance or acceptance of weaknesses or whatever. But so we have jealousy and rejoicing. Do we have some other
Oh yeah, there's
things to
there's
work with?
tens of thousands of them, afflictions, unfortunately, and there's techniques to apply. So, the good thing about the rejoicing is, as I mentioned before, it's the extremely easy way to generate virtue or merit. So the more you habituate your mind with that in meditation at first, because like you said, it's difficult at first, you can't even stomach the thought of the person or the people, then eventually you can do it a little bit, and then out of meditation, instead of that immediate aversion to the group, in your case a group of people, you might be going and then back off, and then next time hopefully it was a little bit easier, and then eventually you can approach them with some sort of equanimity and not be upset. But it takes time, and like as we mentioned before, we're not robots that you program or key in A, B and C and D, E and F come out the other end perfectly. It's sort of a bit more organic. It just takes a bit of time for the mind to develop and unfold. And but if there's a few of you sort of indicated no jealousy, but good for you. But there are tens of thousands of afflictions, and the antidotes that are described in Buddhism. So there's more than enough. But jealousy is a good one because I find it can occur. This is for me. Romantic situations, work situations, relationships, familial situations, it can ample opportunities that I see in my environment for that mind of, she's got the better car, or in my case the jewellery, that's a better jewellery shop than I have, or they've got better stock, whatever, or they're doing better, more sales, or whatever it is. You can do that comparison thing that's happening, and that's sort of where that mind of jealousy can almost start. You might have a good set of circumstances, but because I'm always comparing, then there'll always be someone with something better, and that's where you think, oh, they shouldn't have that. It should be my shop. It should be me. So it's good. So for me, there's always seems to be a live example of it occurring. So for those of you who don't have it, just bear with me. There are other afflictions to work on, and we can cover those. We've got one more week, so we won't cover all of them, but we'll go on to some resentment. Yeah, I'll think of something, because it's got to be something that maybe we can all relate to. So resentment, maybe I resent that person. Maybe that's quite strong. Good. Yep. Yes.
How do you practice it?
Well, because so for example, what we did, a little bit of enlightened energy coming in and afflictions going out. So that's just to, get some divine inspiration, for want of a better word, and that should give you you should feel something with that if you can do it well. And then moving to the breathing meditation. Then, according to Geshe Dogo, the mind becomes subdued because you're taking your attention off everything else, but at that point just the breathing, and that just naturally subsides any, in our case, a jealousy. Well, after a time, then this is not just, and then when we go to the analytical meditation, we're looking at throwing up these situations where we know we've been jealous, or we're going to get jealous, and then trying to react to them almost like an actor. They can't see us, but we can see them, and then we're interacting with them. We're controlling it though. So if it gets too painful, you can back off, and then come back later. And I'm like you. I can think of infinite, examples where that comparison analysis paralysis that is occurring. So you just go, oh, that I could rejoice, and I'd get a better outcome than this sort of, why has that person got this and I have, all that. So anyway, in meditation, you can do that, the feeling that comes up, and then the rejoicing, and then there should be this cognitive shift, because you're only doing that for a few minutes, huh? We only did it for a few minutes tonight, but out of that, next time something happens, if you don't feel immediate rejoicing, don't get disheartened, but you might have some recognition that the mind of jealousy is coming up in you, which maybe you didn't have before. Because when I'm immersed in the emotion, I'm not thinking about, oh, I'm experiencing jealousy now. It just sort of sweeps me away. So so if you've got that moment's break where you're actually the observer, that's a good start. Because you can be observing your mind, go, oh gee, I'm very upset at this point, and I'm not in control. And then you can, if you haven't got the opportunity to breathing meditation, you could just try and do the mentally back away, rejoice in your head. And then eventually what this cognitive shift that occurs is that the rejoicing you can do in meditation flows into your daily life. And instead of it being the last response, the rejoice, it becomes the automated first response. Rejoice, 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 rejoice. So again, according to Lama Tsongkhapa, it's the easiest way to make merit. And at the same time, you're also stopping your mind from being overcome or overwhelmed by the affliction of jealousy. So it's serving, at that point, two purposes. So very powerful. So... yeah, I'm with you. These other people, they're fabulous, but I don't know. But anyway, resentment. We'll try resentment maybe in future weeks. Because, so did you have a question? Another question?
before I was kind of pleasure, and now I don't know whether that flows, but I became jealous of a different point in time, how I was in my mind.
So were you yearning for some something that happened in the past, some state of mind you had in the past? Yes.
How I handled life
Be-
at a certain point where maybe more optimism,
mm,
energy, more hope.
yes.
Whereas now I recognized that I had to work really hard to overcome things like that.
Yeah. So that's very valid because, as I said, it's not like I've plugged in A, B, C into the computer and D and F get spat out. It's sort of not like that. So it has to be, oh, well, I've done the technique that, A, this and this is sort of murkily coming out and something else pops out and then I can sort of see the end, but then I've got to deal with that thought that I had a time when I was more capable and happier and in control, maybe content. So, and then maybe I'm feeling now. So that's good. I mean, that's valid, and that should be, I guess some of because the experiences that the human has are not uniform. We're all individual human beings, so it's sort of like, so different things will come up. So jealous about yourself. So I mean, look, that's not bad, because if you felt you were more capable in the past, it doesn't mean you can't achieve that or better in the future. So yeah, so that's a cause for optimism. That, because I've actually, a friend of mine who was a student, he said when he was younger he had this fabulous meditation practice. He could concentrate and sit, breathe, lights coming in, all that, and he said he lost it. So gone. Like he had it for a time. It was very stable, giving him a lot of bliss, happiness, everything, and then gone. So for him, that's that, if you like, reaching back. Anyway, my thing, I suppose, for him is, well, even if that's gone, you can get something back that's better. The human potential is still there. In fact, that's probably a pointer that what he had maybe was just a teaser for what he could achieve, even though it wasn't permanent at that point.
Was there any event that coincided with him losing?
I don't know. I didn't get into that. So it's just more. It was a good experience because he used to meditate, quite a lot. He sort of, while I was sort of skylarking, he would be sitting meditating and studying all that. So, and he got some very good results, which is good for us, isn't it? So his efforts, and then he got a very good result. But anyway, so the point being, whatever pops up, you shouldn't be dismissive of it. The only thing is that they say with the meditation, particularly the breathing part of the meditation, when the distraction occurs, try and gently bring the mind back. Because if you start thinking about, oh, I've got to meet Jane tomorrow, and I have to make sure I write that essay up before I see her, and if your mind's completely gone away from the breathing meditation, so then the result won't be very good from that meditation, because you're not focused. So it's very important as students to develop that concentration, some form, a minute, half a minute, whatever. That's very useful for when you go into the analytical meditation, and then out of meditation as well. Because if you can focus on anything with concentration, your results are a lot better, huh? Isn't that true? Any activity, work or study or relationships or doing the dishes, whatever it is, if you can focus, then it's much more efficient and desirable, I think. So we've got a few minutes, so I'm going to last week we spoke about the law of cause and effect. So I mentioned that a positive action will lead to a positive result and a negative action will lead to a negative result. And no one seemed to have any problem with that, which is very good. And I also mentioned that if you in the Buddhist explanation of it, it's explained, the law of cause and effect or karma is explained in the context of future lives and past lives. The cause you create today, and I give the example, I gave $10 to the poor person. The cause that I create today, it might not ripen tomorrow or next week as, oh, I've received $100 back. It might ripen in the future, or it might ripen in a future life. So from a logical point of view, if you have only one life, this life, you don't need to have the law of cause and effect, because at the end of the life, it's all finished, isn't it? Because there's no continuum going on to experience the causes you created now, huh? So doesn't mean you don't need to lead a moral life if you have no, but you're just going, you don't have to worry about the law of cause and effect, within the framework, law of cause and effect, future lives, and the future lives are occurring as a result of the causes we create, good ones and bad ones, mixed, all that. And the other point is, looking in the future, continually being reborn again and again, then if you want to look back, was there a start point where the mind began and this whole thing of karma and rebirth began? Was there a big bang or something that kicked it off? Anyone? So anyway, the Buddhist explanation of it is there's no beginning. So the mind is beginningless. So the mental continuum is beginningless. So the lives that we've had, the past lives, are beginningless. So they actually call it the circle, unfortunately. So because we're born, we live, we die, something ripens, we're thrown into another life. We're born, we live, we die. So we continually, that circle of life and death and rebirth goes on and on. So and going backwards, it's the same thing. So, has anyone got any thoughts on that? Because that's quite different to perhaps the concept of, say, creationism, or God created the world in 7 days or whatever. So it's different altogether. So that's very much tied in together. So the Buddhist view of cause and effect and rebirth in the past and in the future. So
there was no beginning.
no, according to Buddhism, the circle's good because it just goes over and over. And unfortunately for us fortunately for us today, here, we've achieved this fabulous human body and mind. We're in charge of our destiny, so to speak. We've got freedom, we've got leisure, we've got all these great conditions, so we can direct our mind to something like enlightenment, huh? So other human beings don't have that, so it's problematic for a lot of people, a lot of human beings. So we're quite fortunate. We're born or raised in Australia, in Melbourne. We're here, so it's really good. But when we die, depending on what ripens at that point of death, and that's a specific karma as well. It's called throwing karma. So it's where am I going to be? So where am I going to go? So that's if it's a virtuous sort of ripening of karma or mind, then the result will be a virtuous rebirth, or happy rebirth, as they say. If not, an unfortunate rebirth, which can be, can vary, animal realm, other realms that are suffering, etc. So it's sort of not so good. So the human rebirth's very rare, and what we call the perfect human rebirth, which have the conditions that we have, even rarer again. So I'll give an analogy. This seems like a strange one. It's a blind turtle in the ocean, coming up every 100 years and putting its head through a golden, must be like a life buoy or something like that. I don't know what this, so you can imagine a life buoy that's in the ocean floating around, it's golden colour, and this blind turtle every 100 years pokes its head up through the ocean. It has to get its head through that buoy. It's blind though, so it can't see, and it's in the ocean. You think, what are its chances? Not very good. So that's, they say, for the perfect human rebirth, yeah, that's the chance that you'll achieve it. Very slim. So if you have, then the Lamas are always saying you take advantage of it. You use it, utilise it, benefit, you develop yourself, all that, because you want it to continue on. So, yes? Because if you have a start point, like say it's this lifetime, we start this lifetime, what happened before? So there's sort of in Buddhism there's no explanation, there's no creator start point. It's just saying the mind or the continuum, it had a birth of some sort or an existence of some sort, and then that finished, and then the karma threw it into another one, and another one. But so you can keep going forward endlessly, and you can, if you keep tracing it back, it's endless as well. Oh no, that's a different. So if you so what have we got? Where are we? 2018. So in Earth years, it's sort of. So if we go, all right, it's when did existence start? Well, in Buddhism they'd say there's no start date. So if you keep saying, oh, the continuum of Mark, if I trace him back, it'll keep going infinitely backwards. There won't be a point where the Mark sprang into existence and before that there was nothing. There'll always be something that was the essence of Mark that's living and then dying and then being reborn. And now, in terms of your point really about animals, some people, and this is not a Buddhist view, is that, we're on this escalator. We're only going that way. It's a view, theosophical. You go, I'm here, and the next lifetime is going to be on this higher plane, and then next one's going to be this one, and then next one's going to be... So there's sort of like a view that the evolution of the spirit or the essence is that way, automatically, without effort. Oh, no, this is just more... It's more of sort of a spiritualism, but it's sort of looking at the human and saying, the only way is up. Whereas in Buddhism they're saying if your karma is such that whatever ripens isn't that good, you can go from this fabulous existence to animal or lower again. It can be terrible, full of suffering and full of long life, full of suffering, endless. So there's sort of like the conditions for the mind that we have, where we can think and cognise, and it's just not there because it's just a torturous existence. So in Buddhism there's not this escalator going up. It can be choppy, up, down, and if you go down, like the blind turtle, coming up every 100 years, very difficult to get back up, because once you're in that spiral of suffering, it's a problematic mind. You may be creating more problems for yourself that keep ripening, so it sort of prevents you from even exhausting the negative karma or non-virtuous karma that you've created. So it's sort of... Yes. Yes, that's a good question actually. So I'll just go through... Yeah, but I'll just from the explanation of karma. So just in regards to the mind of generosity. So I gave $10 to the poor person last week. So my mind was generous. So I performed the act, There was someone there to give $10 to. I was intending to give it. I gave them the $10. They took it. So there's the complete action. So when that ripens, there's a few ways. This is a virtuous action. It can ripen. So it can happen that there is a result similar to a cause. So it could be a habit. So somehow there's a little imprint on my head to, next time I see someone who's not so well off, the habit will be to reach in and give them something. So that's good. That's a good habit, isn't it? To have that virtuous mind. So the second one is the experience you'll have is you yourself will gain some sort of wealth, or people will be drawn to you because of your past generosity. So that's your experience in your head. For some reason, people are coming, I don't know why, but it's that past action has ripened in that way. The third one is the result of fruition. So this is saying a higher rebirth full of resources and friends. So looking at a different life, but you're getting that result of a generous action ripening in that. And the fourth one is really what's the third one really? It's the result of the environment. So the environment is very good. So the conditions you have are fabulous. So all that from generosity. So now it wouldn't be, you may not think, oh, it's just $10, but the little seed that's planted can grow into what they say, the big tree or whatever. So if the causes and conditions are there for it to ripen like that, it will. Now, with a negative action, so say killing, say you kill someone, so that's very extreme, huh? Because, probably guarantee none of us have killed a human being. So just we'll suspend belief and we'll say we've done it. So so you have a result similar to the cause, the habit. One will wish to kill again. That's pretty gruesome, isn't it? You've killed once and then you've got the thought that, oh, that wasn't so hard, I might do it, I might do it again. So that's quite confronting, isn't it? The experience you'll have is that your own life will be threatened or shortened due to sickness or other beings, threatening you. The result of fruition is a lower rebirth. So a lower realm rebirth. So you're in the human realm, you've killed someone. The result of fruition could be a lower rebirth or a very short life. And the result of the environment is that the environment is hell. So it might not be hell as in the fire and all the rest of it, but it could be just hell for you in your head or the conditions you have. Very poor conditions. So it might be again. It's a serious crime, isn't it? To kill a human being, or to do it with the intention, I'm going to kill that human being, and then to see the person that you're going to do it to and then kill them, and then you've completed that because they're dead through your hand. You've completed that action. It's on your continuum. It'll ripen in some way unless you mitigate it, purify it, whatever. So in answer to your question, it can ripen in this life, it can ripen in a future life, and it could ripen also in a rebirth, a lower rebirth, or even if you received a human rebirth, you might have a very shortened life because someone has come and killed you as a result of your action in a previous life. So it's sort of like... So these are difficult concepts because for me, a limited being, I don't know the intricacies of it, so I'm just explaining it in general terms. But it's a very good question. So it's just after 9, so I don't want to keep you too long. So so I think we'll finish there. I think that's a good point to finish. So we've covered a lot of material. So, and I'm mindful we'll try and pick another affliction other than jealousy. So resentment, huh? That's a resentment. Does everyone like resentment? Someone? As a topic, I mean, yeah. Sorry, no, not like it. Yeah. So all right, I'll try and do something on resentment. So, yes. So other beings are jealous, other people are jealous of you. How do you deal with that? Yeah. I think your question is really around developing a compassion for others. It's really, that's what you're focusing on. You're feeling good because something good's happened to you, but you're feeling not so good because the other person isn't feeling it for you, they're feeling upset. So you have a level of compassion that's very admirable. So, but it's difficult if they have an afflicted mind to twist it, change it round, isn't it? Yeah. Because we're more focused on what we can do for ourselves, and that hopefully transforms the environment and the people in it and how they respond. But primarily we're trying to work on how we respond with the afflicted minds that arise in us. Yeah.
How can someone make that other, the people that are jealous, happier?
Yes. Yeah, well, that's very tricky because you can include them in your, good fortune. I won a whatever it is. I won a music or something like that. I won something, an instrument or something, and they can share it around. Oh, here, come and have a look and play, or whatever it is. But it still might not be enough because they might just feel Mark's just paying lip service. So it's a difficult one. Better in the initial time to work on our own afflictions, and you'll find that doing that actually something changes in the environment you're in. So in terms of how people respond to you, but we're always primarily focused on working on our own problems, not problems, but our own afflicted minds, trying to fix those. Yeah. Yeah, have compassion. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think this lady who's asked the question, she's already indicating that she's got very much compassion for them. So that's not the issue. It's more how can she make them happy, and I think that's quite a difficult thing to do at that point, because their mind is consumed by jealousy, but they might not be interested in the antidote. They might not be interested in rejoicing in you. So pretty much. Well, yeah, not very much. No, we can work on our own and to start with, and then. But all right. So we'll just dedicate. So I'll just read out the dedication prayer. So it's very good to do this. So we've generated some merit during the 1 hour we've been here. So so it's good to direct that positive energy to this. So may I quickly become Guru Lord Buddha and lead each and every sentient being into his enlightened realm because of these merits. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen never diminish but increase more and more. Okay, so thank you everyone. So if you like, you can have a cup of tea in the dining room, or I'll see you next week.